Bob, I did want to bring with me today a message. So I don't bring a cheque like the other brethren have presented to you tonight. However, this is far better than a cheque today. And that is an ear to come and listen to the work of what you and the team do. Because once you deal with the locals here, whether it be Emmanuel, whether it be the chairman of the local boards, we just love as a foundation that they come back to us and say, here's the proposal. And we don't ask them to do a lot of jumping through hoops or anything. It's pretty easy paperwork. But it's a little bit, and I just want to spend a moment quickly telling the brethren and for yourself and the ladies here of the good work of the Freemasons Foundation.
Thank you.
Ours goes back not to 2011, but it goes back to 1889. So it started 132 years ago, and it was when, in those days, as you can imagine, colonial Victoria, they had Freemasonry that came from Ireland, Scotland and England. And they even started a Victorian fraternity. So there were 4 different levels of Freemasons operating in Victoria. And the very first Grand Master, so we've got the Deputy Grand Master, so one step up of that, he decided that it would make sense that all 4 of those different branches of Freemasonry become united. And that happened in 1889, and it became the name that we're all familiar with today, that you're now an honorary member of the United Grand Lodge of Victoria. Now the founding Grand Master, a fellow by the name of Sir William Clark, donated to commemorate that very important occasion £50,000. Now imagine pounds. So he was an industrialist. It was Sir William Clark, Esquire, very famous agriculturalist, pastoralist. He was a member of the upper house in the Victorian Parliament, but very well known. And he decided that £500 pounds, sorry, I got excited with all these zeros. Sorry, £500 in 1889, but I still converted that to today's figures, and it was about $500,000. So that's back in 1889. Now that $500,000 has been managed and run by various boards over the years, and today it's a fund, one of Victoria's largest, about $60 million is what we've got in our corpus. So on behalf of everyone who's associated with Freemason, whether they're Freemasons long-standing or brand new Freemasons, the wives, the children, whoever's associated with Freemasonry should feel extremely proud. And that $60 million produces about $2 million a year that we give out to worthy causes.
Well done.
And it was lovely hearing Nick a moment ago when he mentioned Fair Share, for example, that we were visiting them today. They prepare about 10,000 meals per week that goes to all sorts of causes, and I had no idea that your organisation is one of the recipients of them that pass out. So we went to their warehouse today where they actually prepare all those foods. But they get it from farmers, and all sorts of stuff that otherwise would be thrown away gets all cooked up by a lot of volunteers, and it gets frozen, and then it gets distributed throughout Victoria. And we are a supporter of that. So we as a foundation supported $50,000 to that to fund a whole range of programs and activities. So I just wanted to mention to all the Freemasons and family members and associates of Freemasonry, including yourself, that the foundation of Freemasons does so much work, wonderful work. And I want to touch on 2 specific examples here of really big items that really do save lives and change the world for some people. So we announced last year a partnership between Freemasons Foundation. We're chipping in $1 million over the next 4 years. The Cancer Council is matching it with $2 million. So, and then the federal government is adding in an additional $3 million. So the $1 million from the foundation, it turns into $6 million. And the goal is to eliminate, for the first jurisdiction in the world, cervical cancer. Now that's amazing that such a death toll throughout the world from something as horrible that can be prevented as cervical cancer. So that's an example of something that really does save lives.
Well done, well done.
But secondly, I want to give you an example that the foundation supported was $15,000, and I had the pleasure to go up and watch the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra take a busload of musicians up to Malakuta to the fire victims. So we can all recall that horrible scene where people had to run down to the beach. Well, that community has really struggled when the pandemic came along. And the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra came to us and said, Freemasons, can you help us? We want to go up there and cheer up the town. And they went to the aged senior citizens' homes, they went to some preschools and so on, and then they had a big concert in the golf club. And I can tell you, I could not have been a more proud Freemason. And now that you're one, you should feel proud as well. To see the people in the room, the local people who have been traumatised through fire and tragedy, to sit there and watch the music being played. And the conductor said that this is thanks to the Freemasons. And we decided on the day it wasn't a day to pull up the banner with the big square and compass that you now proudly wear. It was a day to sit back and be reserved and say, you know what, Freemasons are just there to tell you that we care about you and that you have not been forgotten. So it can range from saving lives through to just cheering up some people who have been through some tough times. But I promise you that there's a number of our directors that are here today, that when we deliberate, so when the local team here puts a proposition forward to the board, we've now heard firsthand of the good work that you do, you and your team, and I can promise you that it will be looked favourably upon. But bless you, keep up the good work, and welcome aboard.
Do I stand up?
No, I'll sit down.
It is a trout. Smiling.
He already knows the Masonic handshake.
Thank you, Brother Rodney. See what I mean? He didn't know.
You're going to get your apron certified, Bob.
Our lodge is the what do you call it? The Invisibles. Nobody knows nothing.
I know nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, brethren, this concludes this evening. Again, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Professor Bob, thank you very much for your input.
Brother Bob.
Lovely, isn't it?
Brother Bob now, yes?
Brother Bob.
Yes.
Brother Bob.
Yes,
Questions?
And Nicholas, tell you what, we're going to make you a brother as well.
Yeah.
And I'll give it to you later.
What is
Oh, you know the handshake too. There will be some refreshments served in the south, what we call the south. I'll give it in a second. So thank you again, my wish brother Tony, thank you for coming. Thank you for everybody coming, Brother Ash. I hope we can do some wonderful things together. In the future. So again, thank you very much.
Stand together.
Kumusta na? Hindi pa ako matanda, biglas ka na naman.